More moves are coming for the New York Rangers, and Chris Drury's plan for this roster has never been more clear, as multiple NHL insiders have revealed the Rangers' next move, and it makes perfect sense heading into next season, and it has major implications on not just the roster itself, but the salary cap and why some of the trades that have been made have been made. We're going to break it all down in this episode of Rangers Digest, but before we do that, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 74% of you who watch these videos are not subscribed to the channel. So if you want to stay up to date with everything that's happening with the New York Rangers, this is the place to be for all your daily New York Rangers content. So go down below, hit that free subscribe button, and you get to stay up to date with everything that's happening with the Blue Shirts. But let's dive right into it. Chris Drury's plan, like I said off the top, has never been more clear to me. And I'm going to try my best to break it down today because I think I know what he's trying to do by freeing up the salary cap space and trading Chris Kreider. And some insiders have given us some insight into what that is and how it's going to happen. And it's honestly very interesting. So let's dive right into it. From Dennis, a new report out of LA that the LA Kings could actually be targeting Keandre Miller right now via trade if they lose Vladislav Gavrikov to free agency. Now, it doesn't have to be Keandre Miller via trade. They could sign him via offer sheet. Of course, he's an RFA. He's a restricted free agent, so they'd be free to do that. And by all reports, everything we've seen over the last couple days, there is no way Keandre Miller returns to the New York Rangers. Whether you like it or not, Chris Drury is either A, going to trade him within the next week, or he's going to let him walk essentially and let another team offer sheet him. We know that they're going to take the compensation. That has been reported that he will not return to the Rangers one way or another. He's either going to be offer sheeted or they're going to trade him. Now, the one thing I think is very interesting, Gavrikov has been linked to the Rangers since before the trade deadline. And, you know, it gets really, really interesting with this report as well from Arthur Staple that the Rangers could take a run at Vladislav Gavrikov if he hits the open market. And it sounds like LA is preparing for him to hit the open market and that he will become a free agent. And again, this is from Bald Panarin, fantastic account on X, by the way. And they said, I don't want to accuse them of tampering, but it sure sounds like the Rangers are the front runner to land Vladislav Gavrikov when he hits free agency on July 1st, and the 29-year-old will likely command a 7-year deal with an AAV north of $7 million. We'll get into contract projections in a second and why it might make sense for the New York Rangers because there's going to be a lot of money thrown around this offseason, that is for sure. But the one other thing from Bald Panarin, and this is from Pierre LeBrun's latest report as well, and it goes on to say that Vladislav Gavrikov, not only is he linked to the Rangers, not only does Chris Drury want him, he wants to come to the New York Rangers. It sounds like the New York Rangers are on Vlad Gavrikov's list of potential destinations. And I said it in previous videos, and all of you on the channel, I'm sure you know it. If you're a Rangers fan, you know it. Chris Drury is a little bit insane. If he wants a player, if he fixates on a player that he thinks will really help the team and he wants him, he's going to do everything in his power to acquire that player. Great example, JT Miller. He thought, wow, he might be available. I want this player. And he went out and he got the player. So I feel like he really wants Vladislav Gavrikov. And honestly, I think it's for good reason. We'll get into contract projections and all that. But I think he fits into the team very well. And this is from Rono Analyst as well. And he said, there are rumors that the New York Rangers will try and sign Vladislav Gavrikov. I would say these have kind of upgraded from rumors to borderline concrete reports. Like it's certainly getting there. There's a lot of insiders like Arthur Staple that's saying the Rangers could take a run at Gavrikov. Gavrikov's been linked to the Rangers and Chris Drury wanting him since before the trade deadline. Now this report out of LA that essentially they could swap Keandre Miller and Gavrikov, whether it's via trade, which by the way, I didn't even bring up. I think it could make some sense for both teams to trade each other the rights to both players if they want the players. I think that just makes sense. But anyway, so at least you have the rights and you can negotiate earlier. So that would be something interesting to keep an eye on as well. Could make some sense. But Gavrikov could be a great partner for Adam Fox for like 4 years. So obviously, we always know that in free agency, you're going to overpay for a player, right? You're rarely ever going to not overpay for a player that's highly sought after. And the years on the contract are going to be a little bit absurd, right? And we know Chris Drury can kind of get his way out of some of those contracts sometimes. We've seen it with Jacob Trouba, Barclay Goodrow, and of course, Chris Kreider most recently. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But if you look at the advanced analytics, this is not a guy who's going to offer you too much offensively, almost next to nothing offensively. If you take a look at his advanced analytics, not great offensively, spectacular defensively. This is a great borderline two-way defenseman. Like, he can chip in here and there, mostly a defensive defenseman, and he's a big body. He's a physical presence. He likes to lay the body as well. If you put him on that top pair with Adam Fox, it just makes sense to me. It really does. This is the guy that I think you've been wanting. Listen, I love Ryan Lindgren, and I think he was a great defense partner for Adam Fox, but I feel like this is a guy who will really unlock Adam Fox again. It's been a while since Adam Fox has been able to be Adam Fox, and yes, there's a lot made out of the fact that, he had that knee injury. He hasn't really been the same since that, but this is a guy that I think can unlock Adam Fox again. And if you take a look at his stats, like I mentioned, he's not going to offer you too much offensively. Last season, he only had 5 goals. He had 25 assists, which is not bad for 30 points in all 82 games. But this is a guy, again, who's a big body on the back end. He eats a ton of minutes. He was on a good LA Kings team. Physical presence, all these things that he can play with Adam Fox. And he's not even necessarily that old. He's going to be 30. So if you do sign him to a 7-year contract, again, we'll get to that in a second, he will be 37 at the end of it. He probably won't make it to the end of it in terms of staying a New York Ranger. We know that, Chris Drury, if he's still around at that time. But I think it just makes sense at this point. This would be, I think, a good move for the Rangers. It would make them better. And again, the advanced analytics show that. This is, again, if you want to look at advanced analytics and what people are saying, Gavrikov would be the perfect Adam Fox defense partner. He's one of, if not the best defensive defenseman in the league right now. It's actually insane that the Kings are going to let him walk. Like, if I'm the Kings, I'm looking to re-sign this guy. He had a great season, and they had a great season. But nonetheless, again, he's not going to offer you too much offensively. But as a defensive defenseman, which is what this team needs, a little bit more of. Will Borgen's great at what he does as well, and we'll get to what the lineup could look like. But I love him as a player, but that contract could be one that doesn't age well fast. So let's get into it now. From Scotia Stat Projections, they do some great work. And again, you can look at some of the comparables. There's some pretty good comparables on this list. It looks like he's going to command just over $7 million. It could be $8 million, but if you do a little 7x7 action, that would be pretty nice, right? $7 million by 7 years. Again, will he make it to the end of the contract? Probably not, but you'll have this player locked up through age 35, which I think is really good. From 30 to 35, you want to compete again. If you have this guy in your top pairing, it just makes sense. This is a good defenseman. And if you pair him with Adam Fox can do his thing. You have a stay-at-home defenseman that can finally play with Adam Fox. And if you look at the rest of the lineup, I put together a little bit of a mock lineup. Don't really pay too much mind to the salary cap, the years of the contract, all that stuff. I was just playing around with it. But you got Gavrikov on the top pairing there. You got Adam Fox. Now, in this scenario, Keandre Miller is gone, of course, right? Will Borgen is there on the second pairing. He's been fantastic. You need to find another guy to play the left side. Vakanainen, I didn't think he was that bad last season. I feel like you can hang on to him. He can be a good bottom pairing defenseman. And Braden Schneider is fantastic and a great young defenseman. Maybe Braden Schneider, and we've talked about it, Brett and I in other videos, he moves over to the left side on the second pairing. Then you get another guy to kind of fill in that third pairing. That could be an option as well. Maybe Matthew Robertson takes a step. Maybe you go out and sign another guy, but they are running low on funds because you still have to sign Will Cooley. Let's not forget about that. We're going to have another video on that as well. But again, if you look at a mock trade, this one doesn't make too much sense anymore, clearly, because Chris Kreider is no longer here. And I don't think the Kings are giving up Laferriere Moverari, who's a great, not so young defenseman anymore, but a great kind of piece for them in their system, and a first-round pick. It just doesn't make sense. But I could see Miller and Gavrikov kind of being swapped if they know they're going to not re-sign Gavrikov and they need a defenseman to fill in that spot. And the Rangers, we know, are not re-signing Keandre Miller. So, again, at the end of the day, I think this just makes sense for the New York Rangers. If you take a look at his JFresh chart, again, like I said, he doesn't have to offer you anything offensively. You have offensive weapons on this team from the back end. You have one of the best, you have an elite offensive defenseman on your team already. You don't need that offense. But look at that defense, 93rd percentile. The PK, he's great on the PK as well. There's some really encouraging numbers here. So, to me, this just makes sense. If you can get him, he's making, roughly $6 million now. If you can get him at $7 million for 7 years, yes, the last 2 years of that contract will probably look rough, but this is a guy that will instantly make this team better. So let me know in the comments how you feel about that. I feel like the plan has never been more clear. They're letting Keandre Miller go. They want a guy who's going to make a difference in either Ivan Provorov, who Brett's going to make a video on, and I'm sure you guys are already seeing that one, or Vladislav Gavrikov, right? That's another good option. They're trying to fill that in, and they're going to re-sign Will Cooley and fill in the offense a little bit more as well. They have $15 million of cap space to work with right now, and that is more than enough to get Will Cooley and Gavrikov signed. But they have to figure out what they want to do first, because they got to get Will Cooley signed. You do not want him to get the offer sheet territory. It could get very, very messy. So I feel like more moves are coming. It's Gavrikov. I think it is Gavrikov that's going to be coming in terms of big moves. And I feel like there could be some other players being moved. We don't know what's happening with Mika Zibanejad yet. It's not looking likely that he's going to be traded, but I think it's a conversation they're going to have. So let me know how you feel in the comments below. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers.